Hello there, and welcome again to Conversations with Kendall. I'm your guest, Kendall Lutz here, real estate agent with Preferred Shore. We are down here at the Preferred Shore studio, beautiful downtown Sarasota, and equally beautiful, my guest today, by the way, this amazing interior designer at Clive Daniel Home. Please welcome Ryann Aoukar.
Thank you.
I didn't butcher that last name too bad.
It was perfect.
I've never had an interior designer, a developer, designer, whatever you want to, however we're going to phrase that, but you do it all before. So tell us, first of all, your journey here. Where were you born and raised? How did you get to this point in your life?
Right. So I will make it short. So I'm from Montreal, the French part of Canada. And I studied actually interior design in France. I did my bachelor, and then I did my master in product design. So after that, I moved back to Montreal, where I worked for a couple of years. And long story short, somebody from a company in New York called Gensler met me in New York, and they asked me if I'm interested to move to the United States. And this is like 2005, 2006. And since I was living in the US for almost like now 19 years. And during this journey, I worked in New York for a couple of years, 5 years maybe almost. And then I moved to China. I worked for a couple of years for some star architect. Then I came back and I started teaching actually at the University of Tennessee for around 10 years. And during COVID, I was between London and the US. And finally, we decided that we want to have a kid and we want to move to Florida. So I worked for a couple of years in an office in Miami. And lately, I had this idea to be like in Sarasota. And Clive Daniel came across, and I was working with them now for a while, doing interior, model homes, developing a product, So this is the fast track.
That was the quick version. But well, let's back up a minute here. So I thought you were maybe from France, but originally from Canada.
Yeah.
French Canadian.
Yeah. This is the part.
And I'm going to try to talk as little as possible so you can enjoy his accent and it just how he pronounces words, and it just he's got the love language.
Exactly. That's how everybody in the office, they said, your accent actually bring you client. It's not your talent.
That's right.
Which is interesting.
Well, I got to fight with guys like you to get a client, and you just start talking to them, and bam, they're in. I love that. So I'm gonna keep this as little as possible here on my voice, which might be annoying to you. I mean, you can compare that to Ryann's here. This is amazing. But Ryann, you skipped over a lot of stuff here. I mean, he gave me the 1 minute version. Let's back up. And so you're born and raised in Montreal.
Right.
What kind of sports? What did you do as a kid? Anything at all?
Yeah, some basketball, some no hockey.
No hockey.
Not mine. No, it's too violent. I'm a non-violent person.
and of course, he's moved down from Montreal to Florida, where probably the last Stanley Cup champion is from Florida now.
Yeah.
And very few are from Canada. But go ahead. Right. What else?
So this is the kind of sport, and of course, my father used to have a wood shop. So I spent a lot of time actually making stuff, making small products, small object, not really elaborate, but when you have a wood shop, it's your second home. So you grow up like making things, and you see your father doing and making. So it's almost like come natural to me. I didn't really choose to become a designer. I grow up and I'm like 18. Oh, I'm going to become a designer. It became very natural.
Something you were always working on at home. Did he have like a lathe?
He had everything.
Everything. Wow.
Like he does anything from, especially like the French style, Louis XVI, Empire style, where you have a lot of carving, a lot of hand labor, manual work, mostly. And even like we had people that do upholstery. We do it everything. So I saw all the stages and I understood how the product is made, actually step by step. And and it comes naturally, like I said, to go to the university and do interior. But after I did interior, I thought that I'm interested into making the product too, not just to do architectural and interior architecture. So I went to my master and I did the product design. And it's interesting when you are studying abroad, especially in France, it changed your vision to everything, because you grow up in a place where in Canada there is creativity, of course, but in very specific sector. Like if you are in Cirque du Soleil, for example, they are like the most, I will say, talented people on earth, and they set the trend. But if you work, for example, in furniture or in interior design, they are more consumer than what European create. And when I went there and you study there, and you understand like how things actually is done from the beginning, because they have a long history between the Italian, the French, the German, etc. And for example, here, like they said, oh, the trend today is to do Japandi. You know, when you are in France, they don't say the trend is Japandi. They said, what's the trend that we are going to put for the next 5 years?
Right.
So this is
you're creating the trends
exactly,
instead of
right. So it's changed your mindset. It's
Yes.
changed how you think about the object. I used to work for this architect. His name is Rem Koolhaas. For example, we will be designing a building, and we're asking ourselves: is that the right color? Is that the right material? Is the functional works? And he will come and he will say, "Okay, think about that. In 25 years or in 50 years, an architecture historian walk into this building and he want to tell the story of the culture today. What he will think? Can you transform this space to a piece of history?" So you see how it's totally different mindset. And if nobody show you that, or if you didn't learn it, you can never think it this way.
right.
So it's very interesting. The experience was to be there. And when you come here back, of course, the amazing way how we produce here, it is unbelievable. Like if you want to make something in France, it will take you 6 years. If you want to make something in the US, it takes you 6 days. So there is like two parts that it's interesting, I think, what I learned there to understand the history are like the intellectual part. What's more interesting, actually, when you come back to the US and you see how the production and the business part, it is, and it's clear, we are the leader in business development and real estate development and anything related to economy or growth. And the US are leader, our innovation. Innovation is unbelievable here. When you look to Europe, it's like more slow comparison to us.
Now, trend setting, obviously you said Europe. What is the most artistic country or area, if there's one or two or three? What are the top three maybe?
Yeah, I think it depends what time of the history, but mostly Italy, and before that you have Greece. Greece, they did like all the classic, I will say, they set all the standards for the classic. Then the Roman came and started copying a little bit from them. And it died with the Christianity, unfortunately, because there's like a different, I will say, cultural movement. And what we don't see normally as a designer are like people that they are working in fashion. They think that design is just like in itself. Well, actually, it's not. It's really related to the politics situation in any country, or the economy and all what's around it. Just like I will associate here. Like for example, during the hippie era here, right?
Right.
Everybody is like sitting on the floor, playing guitar, smoking, loose. So definitely the furniture that comes after that, it is low furniture. It is more large and loose, more comfortable, where people can. So it's related, but people, they don't see it. They think that this is the trend today, but they don't see that it is coming from this situation or this culture. And the same thing in Europe or in the history before. The Renaissance came, which is Leonardo da Vinci and all those artists at the time. And at the same time, they were doing all this excavation in Rome, and they are looking for all the ruin. So they start discovering all this beautiful sculptural and all this amazing architecture. And they created the Renaissance.
Right. Okay.
So I will say Italy is the major in the new era. Greek, it is
old.
And the France lately, especially with like Philippe Starck and the movement with him, they created almost like a new design movement that it become very, very popular. Like Philippe Starck, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like a rock star and he's a designer. Normally a designer can never reach like I will say, popular in his own town.
Yeah.
And he reached the level of like being a rock star. So
And what
he
was his
created,
name?
Philippe Stark.
Philip Stark. Okay.
And there is a lot of projects actually in the US designed by him. So it is actually Delano in Miami.
Yes.
It's designed by him, the Delano Hotel. So, so I will say this is what's happening now at the time. And then we came to the US, and there is a new trend that is called design thinking. It developed in California, and now it's almost anything between Apple, between design thinking, and all what's happening, ChatGPT, etc. We are like almost the lead in what's happening and what trend.
In the world.
Yeah, we are really doing very great.
Now, explain design thinking. I've heard that before. What does that mean?
It's fine. It's like before we didn't think, we were just designing. Now
just
it's design thinking.
Somebody will buy it.
Yeah. Design thinking, it is a movement where it is not based on a person, it's based on the experience. So for example, instead of designing this bottle, we will design the bottle and we will let people use it, experiment with it. And then we'll write, like, for example, all the trajectory. Okay, when they touch it, what they do, when they drink it, what they do, when they are not using, what will happen, etc. So they will have like a journey of it, the history of this product, and then they redesign it based on the journey. And this happened actually because...
And based on many different elements, like you said, all your senses.
Right.
Touch, look,
right.
See.
And the life of it, you know, instead of like, oh, how it will look like, how much it will sell. And it comes when we started doing digital, like when you have a phone, right? You have a whole relationship, how you touch it, how you react to it, what it will... So all those graphic, I will say, study that they did for the phone, Apple, and all the technology product that we have, from even like you are buying your ticket for the subway, right? So we understood that actually design is how you interact with the person more and more. So we start learning from this experience and we apply it on a product now.
And design,
right?
Wow.
And even architecture, like a lot of people, they do mapping. They map the journey first before they design the building. So how people are coming in, how the mail is coming in, how the cars are coming in, and then you start designing instead of like, oh, this building, it's beautiful, it looks like a tree. Or, you know, so it's not the same approach.
But how functional is it, right?
Right. And yeah, so this is mostly like led by, I will say, design thinking that's produced here, and all the digital product that Apple creating and setting the tone for what is the style or what is the movement. Wow. Yeah.
It's interesting. I just thought, you guys, you sat around and it's not quite the 70s. You're not sitting back there smoking, thinking of things, but you're designing. And I just love the idea that you're actually getting feedback on the experience of a piece of furniture, a piece of art, a look in the house, a feel, and then the functionality of that as well. You never really think about that as you may have some feelings as you walk into a house. And I always believe that that your home should almost be like a window of your soul. It should be,
of course,
it should almost forecast who you are and what you like, as long as you can afford it. If not, you're going to IKEA, like we mentioned, you're getting some IKEA furniture. But even that has a look and a tone and a functionality, like you said. They've done a lot of work on that as well. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Clive Daniel and the products you have there, which are just an amazing furniture there. I'm going to show this. This is a chair you designed, and I'm going to see if I can turn this around and you can take. What's the name of that chair?
It's the Yabako chair.
The Yabako chair?
Right. This is the design. We designed it like around 10 years ago and it is made by a Canadian company in Toronto called Nienkamper. And actually it won a lot of prizes, and now it is part of the collection of the Athenaeum Museum in Chicago, actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
and you designed this?
Yep. And with a friend of mine. His name is Damien. He was in a class with me in France. And when we graduated, we designed it. And I pitched it to Nienkamper, and it works out. And
what was the functionality of this, and what was the process?
Actually, the story of it was taking a piece of the history, like a historical piece, like from the Roman Empire or from the Egyptian. This one is the Egyptian Empire. You take a chair from the Egyptian Empire style, right? And you said, okay, if you are going to refreshen it and make it like update, how you will update it? By changing the shape, by changing the material, by changing the proportion. And based on this, we created this piece. It's like piece from the history, but it is reflecting what it is today, material of today, etc. So it's like connecting the past and the present in the same time. Because we don't believe, at least me personally, I don't believe like we have to cut from the history and create a style that it is just today. It's interesting to always like have roots and have connection to the past. And that's Clive Daniel is like one of the best in doing this. If you go to our showroom, you can see, for example, a lot of transitional pieces, a lot of traditional pieces, but with all, they have like contemporary refreshness and fresh look on them. So it is connected to this past without being old or dated. And we do a lot of things actually, as if you see, for example, a piece of furniture in our space, talking to design thinking, like the height, for example, all our furniture here, it's a little bit like 1 to 2 inch higher than the normal that you can buy it in New York, or you can buy it, for example, in Europe.
Europe, yeah.
Because our customer here, normally they are a little bit older generation, and it is harder to sit on something very low. So we changed the design of the same piece. Like if you buy our piece,
For the baby boomers who are aging.
yeah, baby boomer,
yeah.
exactly. So me including, like when I sit on something low, I'm very uncomfortable. You know, I want something a little bit higher.
Or if you go down there, you're not getting back up.
Exactly.
Anytime soon.
So we do a lot of most of our collection. It's exclusive to us, and we tailor it to our customer and the area that we live in, because we don't believe that it has to be just beautiful. It has to be
Functional.
thought and functional about.
And this does look very Egyptian. I like that that look on that chair, and it's a cross between almost a Scandinavian look and an Egyptian look.
Right, it like exactly like how you will make it contemporary. And at the time when we did it, it was like this was the trend. And like I said, the trend normally it's set based on a couple of elements. And in around 2005, 2006, it was everything was like metal, chrome,
Right.
very minimalistic detail, no detail, cantilever, and that's how we brought it back.
When was this? When did you first design this and market it? What year? What year did you market this?
2005, I think.
Okay.
2006. I don't remember. I think 2006. Yeah, and
Is
it's still in the market till now.
Is it over at Clive Daniel Home now?
No, this one it is designed before I joined
Okay.
Clive Daniel.
They didn't want to buy the rights to that, did they? Okay.
We can. It depends
can.
how
Okay.
it works. Yeah.
Now, I mean, yeah, we touched on this real quickly. I'm going to go back just for a moment here, but you were a professor.
Yes.
You didn't just go learn about design and architecture. You were a professor at the University of Tennessee?
I designed actually. I taught in University of Tennessee for around 10 years. Sam Houston University for almost a year, and I taught in Finland too for a year.
Wow.
For in Metropolia University.
So he learned it, taught it, and then decided to apply it. So because there's obviously not a whole lot of money in teaching, as we all know. We talked about podcasts in the back about underpaid teachers out there. If they paid them like designers, there'd be more teachers.
Right. It's like all teachers, you know. A teacher is paid, I don't know, around $50,000-$60,000, even college professor. And like my student, their entry level when they work for a company, they're like 60, 70, like
Entry level, yeah.
Somebody will be having a PhD, having less money than somebody just walk into industry. So it's really unfair.
Making six figures in the industry, yeah. I hear you. Talking about, I think the other thing, a couple things. Clive Daniel talks about inspiration starts here. That seems to be their motto.
Right.
And when I've walked into that store, and this is a plug for Clive Daniel. I mean, it's a great, beautiful store. Like I said, I think the culture of that store, there's a wide variety of from modern to classical, but overall, what's the theme of that showroom?
And I need to explain something about Clive Daniel that people don't see it. We are not actually a showroom only. We are a design firm.
Right.
That it happened that we are attached to a showroom. So every showroom it's an office actually, has around 20 designers. In Sarasota, we are 20 around. In Naples, there are around 50. Boca Raton, there's around 30. And Fort Myers, there are around 20, 29. So it's a design firm that we design a project all day long. And it happened that we have a showroom attached to us. So if you walked in, we can design the entire house from scratch. Or if you are a builder, we design your model home And that's what we do. We have a lot of model homes that it is our bread and butter. That's what we design mostly. Or you have a private client come with his house. And based on that, we have all what it needs, from bedding to lighting to furniture, you name it. Now, inspiration starts here because we are a design firm. So it's not just the piece, right? So we are setting a trend. We are thinking about what's important for the market, what is important for our builder. Because in the same time, when you come and you buy a piece of furniture, it is fine, you need one piece. But most of our clients, they don't come to buy a piece of furniture. Right. They come because, okay, we're building a model home, we're going to sell it in 5 years. What we are going to do? And now the work starts here. What's the inspiration? What we think in 5 years the trend will be. And because once you design it, it takes like a year. To build it another year,
right.
Then you put it on the market and you are going to sell it for around 2 or 3 years. So you have to be, in the trend. If not, all this is gone.
You have to be forward thinking. I mean, not just a little bit, but quite a bit.
We need to. But there's like 3 parts, right? There is, you want to buy it and sell it today. Let's say you have a house, you want to just buy something and you want to sell it next year. So we are on the edge of the market today, and what's the trend? And Clive Daniel has amazing buyer. They go all around the world, from Italy to Portugal to France. We have people that they go to Vietnam. So we have all Australia to collect the best and what is
China.
At the edge. No, we don't.
I'm going to get that up there now. No China.
We don't actually, 90% of what we do, it's American. And I will say the 10% that it's Italian, Australian, and and there is a company that it's American company that they produce some of the parts in Vietnam. We don't have anything Chinese directly. Now, if you are telling me Baker create, I don't know, buy a piece of metal that he put in his furniture from China, maybe, but we don't have any product that it's made in China. 90% North Carolina, American. Or like Fort Myers, for example, we have a lot of plant. It's Fort Lauderdale. We have a lot of product that we use actually local in Florida to do it. So that's mostly what we have.
Well, why is it that most of the furniture seems to come from America, seems to come out of North Carolina? What is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like NASCAR racing comes from North Carolina too. Maybe it's the same thing. Somebody set up a base there and it just kind of grew.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
And you start something somewhere, right? And like hypothetically, just to talk about something else, like Microsoft start in Seattle. Correct. So what happened next? Amazon open in Seattle. Right. Why?
They're shipping a lot.
Because all the engineer that they work in Microsoft, if they're looking for another job, they go to Amazon. Now, if Amazon open in Tennessee, he will have a really hard time to have engineer or people that they work in software to work for him. So he go there, right? Like you have McDonald's on the corner, and all of a sudden KFC on the other corner. It's like, what's happening?
What happened? Yeah.
So North Carolina is the same. You have a lot of culture there that it's related to manufacturing, especially furniture manufacturing, and they start building next to each other because it's easier. If I need somebody who made just the springs, it's next door. If I want somebody who made the fabric, it's next door. So they get developed. And there is a lot of wood too in North Carolina. Right. Because of the Smoky Mountain, etc. Yeah.
Well, there's so much to talk about here. I'm afraid we're going to run out of time before we even get to the meat of this. But the other thing I heard that you preach, I believe, is bridging the gap between theory and practice.
Right.
So we kind of maybe touched on that a little bit, but explain that to me real quick. Is that, again, your touchy feeling, developing the product?
That's actually what's like, because when you have a theory background, it helps you actually a lot guess what is going to happen and understand what's happening instead of just like consuming or repeating. And because you have a little bit analytic word, I will say, in your hand, so it's easier to work with the client too, because every client is different. He come and he has his own, I will say, personality, his own needs. So it's important actually, I think, to understand a little bit theory and the history. So we can explain to him, okay, you want to go, for example, traditional now, right? Okay, traditional, it is this way and this way and this way. Because most people comes, they think that they know what they want, and because it has a name on it, but they make a lot of mistakes. And then their home look crazy. And then they come, okay, can you help me out?
Fix it?
Exactly, can you fix it? So I think the theory is very important to help you do this when you are and the practice, of course, it is the most important.
Do you think there's a certain amount of relaxation in a home and a mood and a feeling if it's chaotic and you have different types of structures or furniture from different eras or types, rather than walking through a home and it just flows, the same theme? Not that you couldn't have a bedroom in one design, and
Right.
but the whole house is just thought out. Does that give you a better feeling when you live there?
Of course, if you are somebody who's looking for tranquility, you have to have this kind of house. But let's say you are very
chaotic
active person. Yeah, very, very creative. Because the creative people normally, they don't live in an organized place. They live in a very chaotic place.
Right.
And even us, when you go to our offices, it looks like hell. But we created a product that is amazing. It's a flow. So it depends what kind of personality you are. Now, what I think it's important, the place that you live in, even if you don't know, it influenced you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
If you grow up in Milan, or if you grow up in Paris and you see like Eiffel Tower and the Louvre every day, it will not be the same if you grow up in the mountain, you don't see any of this, right? So if your home, when you walked in, it's organized, it is harmonious, it is calm, it will reflect on you. You accept it or not, your subconscious is
Yes.
there, right? You walk in, I call my house is like my sanctuary. The moment you walked in, that's it. The world is behind you. You don't care what's going on. You just like, my blood pressure go down, and I'm like,
And you feel relaxed and like you said the word was harmonious.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe you wouldn't have to have a beer at night or a glass of wine because your home
Exactly, right?
is your alcohol. That, and I'm just going to touch on that as well. Now, the thing about Florida design is, and I've read about this and so on, but it's all about the sun.
Yep.
You have to. That's probably your number one factor down here is
The light, yeah.
the light. There's so much sun, whether it warms the house, lights the house. How do you tie? You have pools in the backyard. How do you tie that outside with the inside? There's a whole different feel here than you do in a condominium or a house in Manhattan,
Right.
or Paris or Chicago, where I grew up. So how do you give me some insight how you tie that light into the house and what you have to look out for?
Right. There is the light, there is the sea too, very important. The sea is big in Florida, and that's why you see a lot of blue, for example.
Right.
And actually, it's so important that there is a style, like there's multiple styles Florida actually created, and people like just copy it. Like coastal, it's a Florida. Transitional, it's a Florida. There's a lot of style that they created here because of this geography and because of the creativity of people too, and what is happening between the East Coast to the West Coast too. There's a big differences. So light, the most important actually, which is like you said, light and the sea, because people when they come here, most of them I will say, it's not their first home, it's their second home or their third home. And if you have a home in Chicago, it is dark, it is warm, it's gloomy, and you come here, you don't want the same thing because like what's the point, right?
Right.
It's like you travel to France, but you are eating American food. It's a little bit like there's, maybe you can eat
Right,
one
like
day American
McDonald's
food. Yeah,
in Paris.
you can eat it one day to feel good, but not every day because if not, you miss it, right? You miss the experience. So most people come to Florida because of this, I will say, style. And it grew and become like a culture, and people like now enjoy it and even transition it to somewhere else. Like you can see some people, like I will say in California, they have like coastal style, etc. because of this. So light, it's very important. And what you use inside as coloration too. So if you use dark color inside, you will kill it because
Right.
it has to work together. If you use material that it is very dark or very textured, it will be different. But if you use something a little bit casual, a little bit light, because you're on the beach, right? So if you want to go coastal, that's mean you have to feel that you are on the beach when you are inside. But in the same time, it is refined, it is clean, it is a home because you are not in a camping. Imagine like you take the camping and you make it a glamping. I don't know if you know this term.
Camping to
glamping.
lamping?
Glamping.
Glamping.
Glamping,
Glamorous
that's-
camping?
Yeah, exactly. Glamorous camping. So imagine.
Is there
the
such a thing?
beach.
I've never seen glamorous camp. Unless you get the big old RV or something. That'd be glamorous.
Yeah. Or you can like do it in a hotel halfway.
Okay.
So when you are doing something, like you have to always think, you take it and you make it more refined, more I will say domestic, and that's the idea about living in Florida. And the transitional is something too that is working a lot here, because you take something traditional and now you want to make it contemporary, but you don't want it to be like super cold, because contemporary is minimalistic. So you bring it to this level, which is, for example, if you have big flower, etc., you will have now texture instead. If you have something very, I will say, ornament, etc., you keep it just like a little bit of curvilinear. So you are like toning it down, making it a little bit more contemporary and easier to maintain than the traditional traditional, I will say, style. So those are like the most popular now here. And there is a new, I will say, a new style coming to town, which is natural organic, or Japandi.
What was that? Japandi?
Japandi. This is
Okay.
like Japanese and Scandinavian together.
Ooh.
So Japandi.
It's like small furniture.
No, actually,
No.
it's fine. There's all. But you know, like how you take the beach and you make it refine, or you take the traditional and you make it a little bit contemporary. And this is just organic and like modern organic. So you ask yourself, like, why this happened, right? That's clear. For the last 10 years, all what we are talking about is environment,
Right.
natural, go back to nature,
Organic.
eat organic,
Yes.
eat organic, so the industry will follow. So if in 5 years you ask me, what's the next style? I'll tell you, look what is happening on the media, what they are talking about, what is the conversation about.
It'd be Japandi.
Exactly, Japan, etc. So you understand that why we are here today and why it is this style taking over. Everything is cream, everything is like earth tone, natural tone. There is no black, there is no dark, there is no gray, there is no white. A couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, it was like white everywhere.
Right.
Gray floor, it's all gone now.
All gone.
It's all natural, and it's different feel and different tone.
So more earthy,
Right,
natural, like the light browns, maybe the light greens.
right. All the like the earthy tone, caramel, cream, taupe, sage, those colors.
And how long will that?
and the blue.
And of course, how long it runs depends on what society is thinking
Yeah.
and adjusting to.
Exactly.
Who the president is. Everything just
Even like if you go like what political party is running,
Right.
and because let's say
and what are they focusing on?
right, let's say you are talking about writing, like you are a writer, right, and you want to write a book. Normally, they cannot survive writing a book. They need a grant, right?
Right.
So if you want a grant, it's the government who's giving you the grant. So if you are somebody who's writing about whatever subject that your government is not promoting now, you're not going to get the grant.
True.
But if you are doing it, you get the grant, right? So then the same thing. If you are designing something, and it is not like supported by your culture or by the movement, that social movement that's happening, you will not sell, and it will not become a movement, or the rest will become a movement.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I've learned more in a half hour here than all my life. The trends and how you set them and how you test products and the mood of the country, the mood of the globe,
Yeah.
defining. And if it's defining architecture and interior design, it's probably defining cars and
All of it.
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. So what do you think? Okay, take that and go forward here. Now, inside the home, you've talked about colors
Yeah.
to look for, textures to feel, and what does that do to the outside of the house? Or are we talking about a totally different look?
Right.
Outside architectural,
There's two parts. There is one concept which is like bring inside out and outside in,
right?
which is like it's gone a lot. And there is like just when you go outside, you have a totally different feel. So it depends which one you like, or what kind of experience you like. But those are mostly the most, I will say, popular way to do it. Me personally, I like inside out. It's a little bit merged and connected together, because it's interesting sometimes when you are like you don't feel like this cut when you are from the inside to the outside. It's like merging. It's more and it's more easy if you want. It's easier to
Right.
design it and for people. And there's a lot of people that they like it cut, and even like each room will be different, right? So you have a different experience here. So this is not really anymore.
Does that create more chaos, or is that more like when you walk through an art museum and you see the different types of art?
Right.
You're going from room to room to room. I mean, is that flowing still well, or are you creating chaos in that home?
It is not a kiosk. It's creating more surprise and more creative. Like some people will say, okay, I'm in this room today. I feel this way. So now I move to other room, so I feel a different experience. Then I move to the other room, that I feel a different experience. So it's like you have multiple experiences in the same home.
Same home, okay.
Or you walk in and you feel like you are in harmony. This is it, all related, all connected. You are more like in tune.
So it's whatever the customer wants to feel. But they should be talking about this with you. Again, this is over at Clive Daniel. You walk into Clive Daniel, you have to go see Ryann here. And it's not just about the furniture. Like you said, that's secondary or third or way down on the list there. Right. It's about designing your home, inside, outside, flows, patterns, processes that he's gone through and developed, and the future. What's this going to look like in 5 years? And what's the trend in 5 years? And that's more important than I saw a couch over there I want. That's nice. But how does it fit with everything else? That's probably a small piece of it. So, wow, that's amazing. So where are you? In Florida, you talk about the outside in and so on. We're just talking about that. Oftentimes they have these sliding patio doors, and they slide into a pocket door, and you've got the whole pool area as part of your kitchen and living room or family room, and that's kind of tying the outside to the inside, which works here about 6-7 months of the year. Come summer, it's a little too hot, but is that still a trend we're going to see down the road, where you just slide that whole?
This is a luxury you cannot avoid. This is a luxury. Just you can open the whole house, and you are connected to the outdoor, because geographically we can afford it, right? Like you have the temperature. It is the best thing you can ever have, and I don't think it will die soon.
Okay.
I think it is even going more and more. Like I don't know. There's a project I was working on. We have a pool, actually. It is not just in front of the house, it's integrated into the house. From your bedroom now, you can have access to it. From the dining, you can see it. From the living. So instead of having the pool in front of the house, the pool is integrated in like halfway in the house, and you are the house wrapped around it. So the connecting inside to the outside is not going anywhere, it's actually going more. And even like gardens, you have like more like, I would say, outdoor environment that it is integrated into the house. It is more and more coming, especially with the Japandi and organic.
Japandi, I got to remember that. That's the word for the day, Japandi. We'll look that up when we get home. Okay, so that's good. And what are you working on now? As far as I know, you can't give me maybe a project, but what have you just finished, or what's out there? What have you done in the last couple of years? Have you worked at Waterside Place? Arlington Park. Where are you working right now, or have you worked in the past? As far as decorating and design,
lately,
Wild Blue, are you up there?
Last week we finished actually the model home by Stock. Stock is one of the builder that we work on. We work with a lot of builders, from John Cannon to Stock to Innovation. We have a lot of builder that they come to Clive Daniel to design their model home. And I just finished actually the latest one for Stock last week. So this is it's going to be amazing. It's a totally new style, because all the models that they were built, it was the last, I would say, 3-4 years. And now this is it's going to
a whole new
almost,
style.
Yeah. It's
and where's that at?
It's Wild Blue.
Wild Blue, okay.
Wild Blue, yeah.
I can't wait to look at that one. I mean, that's a beautiful community right now.
Yeah.
Wild Blue, beautiful amazing homes. Beautiful design. So you've helped homes like that. You've gone in there and you have designed their models,
right,
from top to bottom, inside out. Not just the furniture, but everything.
Yes, but the furniture is very, very important part of it. But like I said, we are a design firm that has furniture. It's not a furniture company alone.
Correct.
So it's always like anything, like the pool, what's in a pool, how anything, outdoor, indoor. All of it, it's designed.
Wow. And a pool that wraps around around and kind of inside the home. That's beautiful. The other thing I'm going to talk to you about is now staging homes.
Yes.
We can touch on that real quick. So I have a home, and maybe it's empty. You come, because you can, online, you can stage a home electronically. You can, through AI, you can show, hey, there's this home with furniture.
Right.
But you still have to go show that home at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go show that home and there's no furniture in it.
Right.
What's the value of you hiring somebody like yourself to stage that home? Tell me the value and what that does for the sale.
Right. So there's multiple advantage for this. First, like you said, when somebody visit, he can see it. And especially when you have a house that has a little bit, I will say, awkward planning, our planning is a little bit hard. So we can, when you stage it, it looks way more beautiful, and people can see how they can use it because they will not even imagine it before. But beside that, just like furnish a home and go buy the furniture for your home, it's a headache on its own. It will take you sometimes 3 months, 6 months, sometimes a year, and you still didn't finish your home. So there is a trend now. People buy the home with the furniture. I'm seeing it a lot, like more and more. And there's people actually in Sarasota, it's their job now. They buy a house, they furnish it, so they sell it with this furniture. Which I didn't think of this before, that it's a situation. So we have.
So these folks have a job to furnish unfurnished homes.
Unfurnished home.
And ultimately, you want to sell that furniture with the home.
With the home. And because a lot of people come, like I said, and it's a headache for them to furnish it. So when they find that it's furnished already and it's beautiful and it's tasteful and it works well, they will buy it with the furniture. So this is more and more I see it in Sarasota. But what we do as staging, let's say you have a house, we can either stage it for you very minimum, so it helps you how to sell it, or we can rent furniture for you. For hypothetically, you have a house, 2,000 square foot. So we'll tell you, okay, we're going to furnish it for you, stage it for a year. And let's say overall, I think it will be between $20 to $30. I'll say 20 to 25 square foot. So if you have 2,000 by two, it's like around $40,000 for an entire year. So you have this furniture for a year there till you sell it, and it will be like this, right? And now, if you want it just for a month or 2 months, we can have a different situation. But if you have, for example, a model home, you want this furniture to be in it for a year, it will be like, so you don't want to keep them. And if somebody wants to buy them, it's great. You buy them, and you can even make money on them yourself because we will give you a decent discount because you are using us as a furniture. So we do this as long term. We use it for short term, and we can just go and help you wrap the house out. Like, you have the house, it needs a little bit of update. We will just advise you. Maybe if you update this kitchen, maybe if you change this floor, maybe if you just put paint here, etc. So it will be minimum intervention to sell it. Or, like I said, we furnish it all for you, and you can rent it if you don't want to buy the furniture. It will be, $40,000. Like, you buy 3 couches, and it's $40,000. So if you have the entire home furnished for $40,000 for a year, it's a good deal.
Good deal, right?
Great.
And have you seen when you've done that? I mean, let's say a house would have sold for $800,000. You put this $40,000 investment in it. It sells for $850,000.
Exactly.
So maybe you're making some money on it, but more importantly, you're selling it quick.
Way quicker.
Because when you compare that home to the other 3 in your area, also for $800,000, with the dog chewed on carpet and the dog chewed on sofa.
Exactly.
It's going to look night and day. That's a good point. Didn't think about that. Now, I can see the other thing. When I bought a house down here years ago as my second home, and it was a model home over in Daytona Beach. I think it was, I wasn't MI Homes, but, and we did buy all the furniture because we had 2 homes. We had one in Chicago, we had one in Florida, and it wasn't like I was concerned about, is this bed comfy enough to sleep on forever? It was, when I come down here every once in a while, I've got a place to sleep, and I've got furniture, and it looked great, and made the house look nice. So I can understand that as a second home. But the other side of this is folks moving down here from up north. It's night and day what that furniture is going to look like.
Right.
You're not bringing that hardwood furniture down here. This is a whole different look. Am I correct?
Totally. And I see this mistake happen a lot of time. They will bring their stuff with them from Chicago or from New York, etc., and they fit them and they put them in the house, and the house looked like really not going to work
crap,
out.
But
so then I come and I pick all this for them, and we'll take them. Normally we donate them to Habitat for Humanity, and we redesign the whole house. And remember, if it is your second home, and we have all range. Like, we have furniture that it is cost effective, and you have the top of the line. We are luxury brand, of course. We have a very luxurious brands, but we have a more cost effective too. So if you have, and I think people should think about that sometime. If you want your master bedroom to be very comfortable and a good bed, fine. And now you have a guest room, you can go for something less effective. So we have less expensive. So we have this kind of range too that we advise people normally to go into different pricing. You don't need to have everything on the same level of luxury or the same quality too.
Right.
Because if somebody visits you once a month, you don't need to put like a Baker furniture where it costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, so this is important too for people when they are furnishing. It's not just how much costs the house. It's each room. It should be like tailored on how much you need it and how much important is and what's the comfort versus what's the price.
And the functionality,
exactly.
the look, the feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is amazing having these conversations and you know, making a room, staging a house. I think it's almost a mandatory type of thing. I should be bringing you in at every home I want to sell, and if we can't stage the whole darn thing because they're living there and they have their comfortable furniture, the kids will love their beds. I get it, but it would be neat to have a fresh set of eyes who is an interior designer come in there and say, "Wow, if you're trying to sell that house to me, it has to give me a feel when I walk in here. Whether it's a family buying it, an older couple, retired couple, a young couple, and they're going to grow a family within that home. You have different feels when you walk into that home that you're looking for."
Exactly.
And if we all know as real estate agents, you know, if you have the family pictures all over the wall there, that's kind of a no-no. It's great for you and your family while you're living there.
Right.
But as I walk in, I can't envision, oh, if somebody else's family lives here already. It's almost detrimental to see
Right.
that. So you would clean that up. But just bringing you in with a home I want to sell, what you could do for the dynamics of that home, I think is amazing. Any of you real estate agents, call this guy, call Ryann up, and
Pleasure.
because I can imagine how that home would sell so much quicker. I've seen some of the pictures that agents take of homes and they put it online on the market, and I'm thinking to myself, why are you shooting the toilet? Why am I seeing that? It's not even a nice toilet.
Right.
Or why are you shooting the closet crammed full of clothes? It looks like it's a huge walk-in closet, but it looks tiny. So stage it, make it look good, give it a good feel.
Exactly.
And the only thing you're going to get, and again, if you're selling, marketing to a family, the feel for that should be different than a retired couple who maybe just wants more room.
Right.
Wow, I didn't really think about this, but I am going to use Ryann all the time going forward here. I walked into a home the other day and I looked. I had a fence company last week on my podcast, and we talked about fencing and how 50% of the homes down here have a dog.
Right.
So if you're not a good dog walker, you're going to have a fence. And I never really thought about that. But I told her I walked in and I saw this fence in the backyard, and it was beat up. It should be torn down. And if you tore it down, your view coming through the house changed dramatically.
Yeah, right.
And she said, yeah, but then some people who want to buy that house want a fence up because they want to plug in a dog right away, and they don't have to go buy another fence. But so what view you're seeing when you walk into the home is so crucial.
First impression, right?
Yes.
First impression is like 90% of what happened. The sales happen like the first 90% when people walk and what they feel. Then they need just like to make sure that what they saw, it is like it's not changing. But first like minute or 2 minutes, that's it.
That's it.
They have it, they feel it. Oh, it looks good, it feels good.
Smell,
And now
taste,
let's
look.
see if they have enough space. Let's see. Yeah, of course. But it's not everything in life, right? If you are choosing a partner, it's
New
like the first 20 minutes, like, yeah, let's see now after that if we have a good character, if we have, if we align. If you are buying a table, oh, it looks beautiful. I feel good about it. And now
Right.
let's see if it.
Is
So
it
everything,
functional.
yeah, if it's functional, if I can afford it.
Speaking of that, and I don't even know that much about you. Are you married or are you happy?
Yeah, I'm married.
Married-
and I have
married
a
and
baby.
happy.
He's like 4
Okay.
years old.
4 years old.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
First one.
Yes, it's the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. You happy? I mean, you're just excited. I can see you're
I am
smiling. You're
I don't
here.
think there's anything better than that in life.
I don't think so either. And
Yeah.
I have 6 kids. My youngest one is 3.
Wow.
And I just think it is the best thing in the world.
And this is the great age, 3, huh? 3, 4.
Yes.
Because they
They
start
still
talking.
love you.
They still love you, right?
They're about 16, and this dad can have the car keys. See ya.
Yeah, don't take it personally. Did you see Is that Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp, he said, look, I'm Johnny Depp, and my children think that I'm horrible. So don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally.
You know,
That's right.
if somebody like him, his son doesn't like him, so it's fine.
Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
That happens. You go through his phases, and you know your dad initially, he's the greatest guy in the world, and he's most knowledgeable, and he's awesome. And then you go through that phase where he knows nothing, and then
Right.
later in life, you're like, wow, he really knew everything. So once you figure it
Yeah,
all
when
out.
when they get older a little bit, right?
Yeah,
They
when they
find
get to
out
34 years
after
old,
that.
like, wow, my dad did know a lot.
Exactly.
We're looking at our dads, and I was like,
But
wow.
they said that it's part of your DNA to, like, since you are born, your DNA is telling you get separate from your dad, because if not, you will not go and create your own family. So his job in life is question you all the time and be not offended by you, defend you. Like he's like testing you because he's trying to find his way out of you. So you know,
Right.
and then when he's out and he's free, then he get back and he starts seeing it.
Right.
So before that, don't fight it, because he is a program to have his independence, to create his own family.
Own family.
That's what somebody told me actually. Don't get offended, because you know he's 4, but he start coming and like keep coming and like just like
Testing.
testing.
Yeah,
It's like,
testing.
why he is doing this? I love you. It's like, yeah, he doesn't know that he's doing it. He is just trying to find his independence.
So yeah, somebody told me, I saw a podcast the other day, and they talk about kids, young kids, and you look at your kids and say, pick up your toys, and how that registers in their mind. We know the ultimate outcome of what you want done there,
Right.
but for them, they're thinking, what toys? Where do you want me to put them? You know, why? I'm still
Exactly.
playing with them. There's all kinds of other questions in their mind that if we said, hey, can you pick up those Tinker toys and put them in this box and then put that box over here? They would probably do it.
Right.
But they're like, you just can't blurt out a statement to your kids and expect them to jump.
How to communicate.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I do want to give me one more tip here before we sign off here. When you have a staged home,
Yeah.
let's talk about some key elements that you think are crucial in staging a home. And again, it may be different from who you're trying to sell that home to.
Right.
A Wild Blue home versus, a $400,000 family home someplace else. But what
there's
are some of the key
rule of
elements?
thumb, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say clutter first. No clutter. Clutter, smell, neutrality. Like be as much as possible. Clean it up. No clutters.
Right.
Be neutral as possible, because sometimes you cannot. But like if you have a red wall in the middle of their entrance, paint it white. It's not really that big deal. And it doesn't, just one.
Speaking of which, that was a big trend for a while there. An accent wall.
Uh-huh.
You get a blue one, a black one, a red one.
Right.
And now you're saying that 5 years from now, that's really not going to be, or if it's accented, it's going to be beige or.
Right. And even if you want to have it, like the chance that the person is going to buy the house, he's going to have the same accent wall with the same color is like below zero.
Right.
So, and people, sometimes they cannot see like beyond this. They will walk and they will say, oh no, I hate this. They don't understand that they can just paint it.
Right.
Because sometimes it's like, yeah, you can just
It's
paint
first
it,
impression,
it'll
like
be
you
fine,
said.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So when there is something very bold, try to like neutralize it. This is important. Make it look nice, feel good. And there is like some element that I learned actually from real estate agent. It's like, bring cookie, and if they are fresh baked, they smell good. Flour, it doesn't cost too much, couple of flowers.
My mom used to, we were
were
starting to sell a home up north. She'd always put a loaf of bread in the oven.
right.
And she never let the dough rise. I said, well, Mom, it's not done rising. She goes, I don't care. We're not eating this. This is for smell.
Smell good.
And
smell
or
nice,
cookies,
yeah.
chocolate chip cookies.
Right.
I think that's
It's
one.
just to make it nice, to make it, and really look yourself and say, okay, what is the most, I will say, noticeable here? If it is value, if it is like the view, of course, emphasize it.
Right.
But if it is like the red wall in the beginning of the entrance, just neutralize it. So you have to be careful.
So
with
maximize
this.
what you're really selling there. Minimize the clutter and the
Right.
oddities of the house.
Right. That's and
Like-
of course, if you have a small area, put a mirror in it, even if it's just for a day or two, or even paint it a little bit light color. Have light, have new bulbs. It's really basic. People think that they think about it, but they don't.
Right.
You walk and you turn like the light on for like your bathroom, and there's like 3 bulbs that are not here.
Right.
Like, what is going on? It costs like $2.
I,
It's just, you know.
I've done open houses, and I've walked in and turned all the lights on. It wasn't my open house, and yeah, half of them are out. And I would then start bringing bulbs with me. The problem with that, though, is they never match.
Right, not the same color, right? You
Yeah,
have to change the entire house.
Yeah, and what that ties out. That was another question I was going to ask you about the light colors. What is the best? I like the bright white color, but my wife can't stand it.
No, this is bad.
Yeah, that's so.
So I'll explain light in general. The best light for us, it is the sunlight, because we are used to it. Since we are born, this is the light that we wake up for, we see during the day, and we go. And normally it is 3,000 Kelvin. So what does that mean? For people, it doesn't mean anything. What does that mean, 3,000 Kelvin?
What?
Right? It is the temperature of the light.
Okay.
So higher the Kelvin, degree Kelvin, it's like degree K, more white it is. So if you go to the swimming pool, it will be probably 5,000 K. Or if you look at a window in a shop, it will be probably 5,000 K, because they want it to be lit, like blasted with light. And if you go, for example, to sunset, which is like almost orange, it will be probably like 1,000 K. So in between, which is the daylight, it is 3,000 K. Me, I normally go to a little bit lower than that. I go 25 degree Kelvin, because I like it to look a little bit warmer. It is not yellow, but it is white toward the yellow, not white toward the blue.
Right.
So I will say medium, 25 to 3,000 degree Kelvin, it's the bulb. So when you go to the supermarket, you can read on it. It is normally 90% of people, they don't read on it because they don't know what does that mean.
That's right.
So go and pick your bulb light and look at it. It has to be between 25,000 degree or 3,000 degree. This is the best color.
That's the best light. Okay.
For your home.
Okay, so I guess I have to redo my house. My wife says it's too bright, so she goes up, she goes warmer.
Yeah.
I am out there in the blue spectrum, but.
And you can mix them. So for example, if you have a spotlight, you make them 5,000 for you, or 3,000, and you can have like chandelier, which is 3,000. And when you lit them together, they will be like they will soften.
Soften up.
So
wow.
The super bright will give you a lot of light, so you can see, read if you are working. I do this in meeting room normally. We will have like spotlights 4,000 degree or 5,000 degree, because people need to work, need to write, need to read, etc. And we put like some chandelier or some pendant, 3,000 or 2,500. It's soften everything. Yeah.
Well, what advice would you give me? Let me show you if you can see this on the screen here too. This is the art I'm into. This is a Peter Max.
It's beautiful.
And this is I would the color of Peter Max. He's my favorite artist. I mean Picasso's great too, and Renoir and so on. But the arts of this guy back in the 70s, he did this for Expo 74, which I think was in Montreal.
Montreal, yeah.
If I was going to decorate my house, because I would love to, right now the look I'm thinking of is a very white canvas.
Yep.
I filled it with Peter Max, maybe a red couch, maybe a whatever, but just to have that color accenting around this white canvas. What would you recommend?
Right. If you want your house to feel like a museum.
But I don't want that. I want a colorful. Right. When I think of museums, I think stuffy and.
Right, but because I'm going to this. So now, because there's like the museum is like minimalistic, right?
Right.
So it's very minimal. But if you go minimalistic, it's cold. So to make it less cold, you have to be dramatic or theatrical. So if you have a space that is really cold, if you make it theatrical, or you make it dramatic, then you will bring warmth in it, without really changing the white or the color to red and orange and yellow, because the drama or the theatrical feel like if you have, imagine like you're in theater, so that makes it, I will say, dramatic. Now, if you are going neutral, maybe the gray will be good, like warm gray. It will be good as accent walls or like some walls. Taupe,
light gray.
Yeah, light gray taupe, light taupe. It will be fine. Because the art is very colorful, you have to be very careful that your background is neutral.
Right.
Because if you go something like earthy, it will clash. It will not look good. So for this era, I will go for a little bit more gray, lighter gray, or white. in general. If you
But
are,
this is not, what's the new, no, we're looking for the what was that one?
the Japandi, yes.
Japandi. This is not Japandi.
Right, of course. But because your art is not related to this.
To that era, right.
So this is the different era. And not everybody has to have Japandi. Now, the trend today and the next 5 years, probably it is modern, organic, and Japandi. But it doesn't mean everybody's house needs to
Yeah,
be
look at that. Correct,
like this,
correct.
right? You want it to be related to your personality. But if you are going to sell it, you better be in this.
You better.
Because in 5 years, you look like...
You better flip that
Yeah.
over and
Yeah.
put some picture of a tree because we're
Right.
going
Yeah, exactly.
we're going nature now.
Right.
So
But
maybe
this is
maybe
beautiful.
maybe Peter Max has a tree picture. I have a feeling it's still too colorful. But I understand what you're saying now. So you can build your house to live in that makes you feel comfortable, that you like to
Exactly.
see that. But if you're going to sell it later,
It's
tone
a
it
different
down.
story, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to remember too that there is a lot of artists in Sarasota too, and a lot of people, I would say not eccentric, but very like from different culture, from different city. So if you have a artistic house, you will not have hard time to sell it neither.
Sell it, right.
Because there is, Sarasota has a huge community, artistic community, and
Yeah, I mean,
people
it's
that
a
they are
cultural,
here.
it's our
Diverse,
cultural
it's very
coast of
diverse,
Southwest Florida.
right,
I mean, it's,
right.
yeah.
And you have the museum,
Yeah.
you have the Ringling, you have
Ringling,
the and the Dali is not far. So I think it is not really hard to be in the market if you are artistic and you have some artistic, bold approach to your house too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I could keep you here for hours. We've talked close to an hour here, and we could keep going. But go to Clive Daniel Home, talk to Ryann. I will give you. Can I give him your phone number?
Of course, you can.
You can call him as well. I have a number here, the mobile.
Yeah.
941-280-3152. This guy was doing an amazing job for you, and I'm going to use him for all my staging going forward here. And if nothing else, I'm going to pay him to come into my homes that I'm selling and tell me what he thinks. What's his impression? What do I change? Maybe I can spend $10,000 that makes his home sell quicker, faster, and for more money because it appeals
Right.
to your senses when you walk in. Not a bad way to do it. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Again, go see this guy, Clive Daniel Home, Ryann. I give you the phone number. And thank you for being here with Conversations with Kendall. Again, if you need to sell a home, I'm your man. 847-980-8987 is my number, and I'm going to bring Ryann with me, so you get a 2 for 1 on that. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time.